Stop there. Stop there, sorry.
There's a problem right there.
There's a little bit of a scientific problem there.
Yeah.
Okay, it's trash for anabolism. That's not the first study.
No, it's not.
It's nowhere near the first study.
No. This one's an interesting one.
Yeah. Stop that. Sorry, that's a shocker.
It's a bad one.
Did anyone hear that?
Yeah.
Is it ditripeptides or is it individual amino acids?
That's right, yeah.
Which one's correct?
Exactly.
There.
Stop that, please. Stop there.
Oh. Stop that. Sorry.
Stop
that. There is a preponderance of evidence out there.
There is a huge preponderance of evidence.
Stop there a sec.
Please stop there.
Dear,
we go back to that one.
That's right.
That one there.
I was waiting for that
glaringly
one.
obvious, that one, that it's not. Hey everybody, and welcome to the ATP project. You're with your host, Steve. I like to say your name first, Steve. I feel like that's just the
you can do that.
thing to do. Steve and Nick.
Yep. And I say your name first, don't I?
Yeah. Look at us. We're just so old-fashioned.
Such
manners, don't we?
Manners and everything.
Yeah.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's good that we all different intro thing. Today's a weird one, isn't it?
Today's a little bit different.
Yes.
We're going to do something a little bit different. We're actually going to talk about a video on YouTube from someone called Dr Layne Norton.
I love this guy. I think he says
I have the utmost
really,
respect.
yeah, he's really good. Really, and I love the way he presents things and talks about things. He's really quite good with these things. We're going to talk about, because he's talking about a study on collagen that came out. And now, just as full disclosure, we work for a company called ATP Science, and if you look us up, we've got collagen everything.
Yep.
We've got collagen in many, many different forms and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
And we do sell collagen.
Yes.
So we are coming from that perceived bias.
Yes.
But what we're going to talk about today is facts.
Yes.
Numbers, data.
Yep.
So that's what we're going to talk about today. And what Layne talks about is a study that came out about collagen protein. And we're just going to look at the study a bit in more detail.
Yeah.
Because we've got graphs, we've got the full papers in front of us. And it's going to be interesting. So really this is just basically playing the video and then talking about the points that Layne brings up. Some of them are good. Yeah. Some of them we disagree with, but that's science. You know, you don't. Yeah. It's nothing personal. As I said, I love the guy.
Yeah, no, we think he's great, but we think that some of the information giving it throughout this study paper were possibly not entirely.
Not the full picture, and we'd like to give the full picture.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about some of the comments that other people have written.
Yes.
Which is very interesting, and some more studies here on other things. So a bit of weird mixed bag today.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
A bit of a different one.
So we'll just start by playing the video, and I'll say just stop it, and it'll be stop start a lot.
Yeah.
But you have to stop it so then we can talk about it.
That's right.
So, yeah, it's good.
Okay. So let's start the video, and then we'll go from there.
What's up, guys? We're back, and this week we're talking about collagen protein. But first, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment because I told you so. Don't do it for the algorithm. Do it for me. Now, a little background on this. When collagen protein first got brought to the market as a supplement, I immediately was very critical of it because...
Stop there, sorry.
There's a problem right there.
There's a little bit of a scientific problem there.
Yeah.
Okay, so when something new comes to market, like Layne said, he immediately has a problem with it. That's not, as a scientist, or for science degrees, it's not what you do. If something immediately comes to market, you look at the evidence.
Yes.
You don't immediately, as Layne said, jump to a negative conclusion about it, whatever it is.
That's right.
I mean, I don't know how many times I've been wrong about jumping to conclusions.
Yes.
But it's all about, you've got to, put your feelings aside and look at the facts.
Well, that's what science is about. Science is the facts. So, yeah, to start off on the back foot saying, I was already against it before it even started, then that's really not a good way to start. So.
It's not a good way to start. We'll forgive him. Move on. It's just that science has got to be an open mind.
That's right.
And you look at the data. And facts don't care about the feelings.
That's right.
And that's a quote by Ben Shapiro. It's not me making up something clever.
No, it's very clever though. Do you like that quote?
Ben's brilliant.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a different story.
All right, so let's go.
Yeah.
You look at the amino acid profile of collagen protein, it's pretty trash for anabolism.
Okay, well, it's good. You stop right on the panel. Okay, it's trash for anabolism. Now, what he's saying is that he's looked at the amino acid profile, and collagen is bad for building muscle. Yeah. That's what he's saying, anabolism. And if you look at that there, he will focus on the branched chain amino acid in there, and he'll talk about, in a sec, because I know what the video says, he's going to talk about an amino acid called leucine. So, but collagen, just at this point, we'll get to that, but collagen is more than the sum of its parts, and I'll explain as we go along.
It is literally one of the worst sources of leucine out there. Actually, it's the lowest I know of, the worst I know of. Maybe there's one that's worse, but I'm not aware of it. Why is that important? Leucine is the amino acid responsible for stimulating skeletal muscle protein synthesis.
Okay, he's right. Leucine is responsible for the stimulation of muscle protein synthesis. He's done a PhD on this. It's very true. The only problem is there are many other amino acids that stimulate the same enzyme that builds muscle. And the enzyme he's talking about, long name, mammalian target of rapamycin complex 1. mTOR, people call it, that sort of thing. And he's right, leucine does stimulate mTOR. But we have other papers here.
Yes.
And the paper says glycine stimulates mTOR.
That's right.
And glycine is a major stimulator of mTOR. And the paper is published in the Journal of Nutrition, December 26. It's glycine regulates protein turnover, activating mTOR. And then there's another amino acid that stimulates mTOR. Methionine regulates mTOR via T1R1, blah, blah, blah. And that's published in another journal, of course. This is all peer-reviewed papers. And then there's another amino acid, it's called arginine. Stimulates the mTOR signaling pathway and protein synthesis, blah, blah, blah. So, and that was published, Journal of Nutritional and Biochemistry, 2012. So this is going back 10 years. So we know these amino acids stimulate mTOR beyond the good old leucine pathway.
Well, I mean, so you go back to that, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, which basically means everything works synergistically together. So the body in nature is very intelligent. It's just not one thing that's going to create the effect that we want. And that's where that synergy comes in, and amino acids are synergistic. They work together. So leucine, yes, definitely works with that muscle protein synthesis, but it's not the be-all and end-all. It's important, but there are other amino acids, as you said, that do help with that. So
I bought a new car recently, right? And diesel makes the car go, right?
Yes.
And so I just put diesel in it, ignore everything else. It'll run, but it won't run well because there's all the other stuff. You need air, you need engine, so it's like that. It really is like that. And there are many other amino acids, and in these papers it goes through the other ones like serine and a few others. So, and they all stimulate mTOR. So just keep that in mind. Now people know that data. It's not just... Otherwise, imagine building muscle be the easiest thing on earth. You just buy a bucket full of leucine.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
You're as muscly as I am.
That's right.
Don't laugh. Nick, you're supposed to laugh at that point.
I was totally agreeing, Steve. Totally agreeing. Yeah.
I mean, it would be nice if it's that easy. But anyway, sorry, go on. Let's keep going.
Now, I know a thing or two about leucine because I did my PhD literally on leucine. While supplemental leucine does not appear to affect muscle mass, we do know that the leucine content of complete protein sources is a very strong predictor of the anabolic nature of that protein. Many people countered this and said, well, you're not taking collagen protein to improve muscle mass, you're taking it for connective tissue because it'll increase the synthesis of connective tissues and help your connective tissues. Okay, cool. We know from previous research that whey protein does not increase the rate of synthesis for connective tissue. It only increases skeletal.
Just stop right there. Yeah, there's reasons for that. Now connective tissue is made of hydroxyproline, and there's no hydroxyproline in whey.
Yeah.
There's heaps of it in collagen. So that's why. But also collagen has other factors, ditripeptides that stimulate. But anyway, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Sorry, keep going.
Muscle protein synthesis, which is great for skeletal muscle, but maybe some people are worried about their connective tissue and joints. And many people have said anecdotally, hey, when I take collagen protein, I feel better, my joints feel better, those sorts of things. So this study was the first study to assess whether or not collagen protein supplementation specifically increases the rate of connective tissue synthesis.
Stop there.
They gave...
That's not the first study.
No, it's not.
It's nowhere near the first study. No. So there's many studies looking at collagen connective tissue with taking collagen supplementation.
Yeah.
In fact, there's entire brands that are formulated for connective tissue strength, like Tendon, one called Tenderfort collagen. There's specific collagen is, because not, and we'll get to this later too, but not all collagens are created equal. Different brands, there's Verisol, there's Tenderfort.
And these are peptides.
These are peptides.
We're going to talk about the difference, what the peptide
I know. He's lumping all collagens into one.
Yeah.
It's like saying all humans have got black hair.
Yeah.
And they haven't. Some have got grey. And some are balding.
Yes.
Okay, but let's not go there.
2 groups of people, and it was a mix of men and women, either 30 grams of whey protein or 30 grams of collagen protein, and then look to see what happened with muscle protein synthesis and connective tissue synthesis. Well, as expected, whey protein increased muscle protein synthesis, but collagen protein really didn't.
When he said it really didn't, and I've got the paper here in front of me, and we look at the collagen synthesis, and there is a lovely little graph in here with all these little dots all over it. And he said, whey did it and collagen didn't. Now, here's the graph here. I'll hold it up for you, Nick, and hopefully the camera, we might be able to do some specific editing. But you can see that the whey is the dark dots and the collagen is the light dots. Now, if you look at those lines, the mediums, which is the middle part, or the average, the means, they're pretty similar.
They're pretty even.
In fact, there's no significant difference between them.
It's not.
So placebo's down a bit lower, and that's fine. But he said that whey does and collagen doesn't. But when you compare whey and collagen, there is no difference between them. And the p-value for that, just so people know what p-value is 0.6. Now, it's got to be less than 0.05 to be significant.
Yes.
So when he says the one does and one doesn't, he's not looking at the data.
He's not looking at that.
He's comparing whey against placebo, and you've got to, and this paper's all about comparing collagen with whey.
That's right.
So there's no difference, no significant difference. It's a slight non-significant difference there. And remember, this is just collagen proteins. It's not specific collagen peptides.
Peptides, yes.
And they're completely different things.
Very, very different.
And there was a study, and we've talked about it many times on our podcast, where they compared specific collagen peptides with whey on muscle growth, and the collagen was better. Now, it wasn't significantly better like this, but it was better. But it didn't reach the P. It was 0.06. It was close, but it didn't reach clinical significance. They needed more people.
Yeah.
So very different kettle of fish. So a little bit of, compare it against placebo. You've got to compare it against each other.
That's right, exactly.
All right, so let's go.
All right.
That was, as expected, associated with a much greater rise in blood levels of the amino acid leucine after whey protein ingestion.
Okay. He's right.
Yes.
He's right. There was, in this paper, it's got blood levels, and I'm scamping over to the graphs there. When you take collagen compared to whey, there was a much higher rise in leucine levels. And it's pretty clear because there's more leucine in whey, so you'd expect that. But the straight under that graph, if I can show you there, you can see the dark one's whey, and it's much higher than the collagen one. You look at the graph under it, this is plasma glycine. Now, why would they measure plasma glycine? Is because glycine drives up mTOR as well, as we've just seen from the papers. Now, Nick, you want to describe how much better collagen is of glycine?
Well, I mean, it's peaked, huge peak, whereas whey is flatlined.
Flatlined.
Yeah.
Now, flatline compared to another dot there is called the placebo.
Yes.
So
it's pretty much whey and placebo are pretty much, even.
Yep.
But that collagen is spiked right up.
So we can say from that graph that whey protein doesn't increase glycine levels in the blood.
No, that's right.
Yeah, that's compared to placebo.
Yeah.
Now, with of course, collagen, it drives it through the roof. Now, glycine stimulates, growth and all that sort of stuff. So isn't that very interesting that he picked on one amino acid?
Yeah.
And look, there was a slight spike with collagen leucine. Yeah. Now, what you find with collagen these days is a lot of them add leucine in there, and they'll add a branch chain amino acids if you're keen on just that spike.
Yeah.
So if you want the best of both worlds, and of course that would spike leucine levels.
That's right.
And the one under that is proline, which is another amino acid. And whey did spike a little bit there, but again, collagen much higher.
Yeah, it's probably half as much as the collagen.
And if you look at the hydroxyproline, that cool amino acid, there's no comparison.
There is literally whey's not even registered.
Yep.
Yeah. So hydroxyproline in the collagen, very unique.
Hydroxyproline is not found in whey.
No.
So when they talk about complete amino acids, I get that. It is a complete amino acid whey, but hydroxyproline can be made in the body.
Yeah.
But supplementing it is a really cool way to do it. So isn't that very interesting?
Yeah.
Now, while we're on plasma amino acids, look at the total amino acid there between whey and collagen. Which one's higher?
Collagen.
Collagen.
Collagen is higher.
Collagen is higher than whey. Whey still spiked amino acids totally.
It did.
But collagen was significantly higher in
Yeah.
total amino acids because it's just better absorbed.
Yeah, that's right.
Whey has some issues.
Has a lot of issues, and we haven't covered that. We could cover that with whey.
Well, we'll talk about them later.
Yeah.
But I just thought we'd go through this one at a time. But you can see that they're the results from the paper. I didn't make them up. They're numbers, they're graphs, they're all that sort of thing.
That's the paper he's quoting.
That's the paper he's quoting.
in that actual paper.
Yeah.
So
it's just funny how it depends on which one you pick out. But as I said, he's right. Leucine does spike more, but that's only one of the 4 amino acids that drive up mTOR, 5 amino acids. So
exactly.
Just picking on that one.
All right, let's keep going.
Now, when we look at connective tissue synthesis, neither protein increased connective tissue synthesis.
Stop there.
This one's an interesting one.
Yeah, of course. I mean, this is collagen protein.
Yeah.
Okay, collagen protein is not the ones that boost the connective tissue, like
right.
10 to 40 gel.
Yeah.
And we have talked about them on our podcast before, so please have a look at the podcast. 10 to 40 has been tested with the Australian Institute of Sport. It grows back tendons like there's no tomorrow, which is a super connective tissue. We've talked about Verisol. And if you want to Google Verisol, PubMed and wrinkles, you'll see that Verisol is fantastic for reducing the appearance of the skin wrinkles. And that's your connective tissue. So it depends on what tissue you're targeting. That's right. Collagen protein is just literally a bunch of protein, which has no specific messaging to the body. When you break it down to certain amino acid lengths, there's a message in the body. That's right. For example, you might have heard of the hormone insulin. What does insulin do in the body, Nick?
That was blood sugar.
Stops blood sugar level, but that's just amino acids.
Yes.
So you know what I mean? It's like, and growth hormone does what? Yeah. And glutathione does what? Yeah. I could go on forever.
Yeah.
They're all proteins.
Yep.
Glutathione is just a tripeptide.
That's right.
So so these things are very interesting, isn't it? But he talks really more about this a bit later on. So that's where he's missed that one. He's lumping all collagens together.
Yes, and we will make distinction there with the collagen and the peptides is the part that he sort of glossed over.
Yeah.
So whey protein was superior for skeletal muscle. Neither protein increased connective tissue synthesis. Based on this study so far, we can say that taking collagen protein for connective tissue really doesn't seem to do much.
Stop that. Sorry, that's a shocker.
It's a bad one.
You got to remember that there's data like meta-analysis on just Verisol for your wrinkles. And meta-analysis, and Layne would agree with me, is the number one level of evidence. That's all the studies put together, placebo-controlled trials. There's many meta-analysis on these sorts of things. We've talked about them in podcasts past. So you can't just summarise. And firstly, you can't summarise from even if one study contradicted that, and there's always one study that contradicts anything.
Always.
Then you can't just say, so from that we can say that no collagen works. That's a very broad unscientific statement.
Yeah.
Because that's not going to work. Because this is just collagen. This is not specific collagen peptides.
That's right.
So anyway, sorry, Layne, go, mate.
I'm not surprised. Because if you understand digestion and protein metabolism, you understand when you eat a protein, like a whey protein or a collagen protein or whatever it is, when you're eating a protein, you're eating a long chain of amino acids that have been folded up into a protein.
Correct.
And during the process of digestion, that 3D dimensional structure of the protein gets unfolded or denatured, mostly in the stomach by stomach acid. And then it starts to get chopped up by enzymes like pepsin and pepsinogen. And then when it gets to the small intestine, it's exposed to the proteases from the pancreas like trypsin and chymotrypsin. And those start chopping off all those amino acids into individual di and tripeptides. Okay, so basically what you start out with is this big globular protein that gets unfolded and chopped up into its individual amino acids. And so what you actually...
Stop there. Did anyone hear that?
Yeah.
Is it diatripeptides or is it individual amino acids?
That's right, yeah.
Which one's correct?
Exactly.
He says both.
He says both, yeah.
Okay, it's single, di and tripeptides are what are absorbed in the body.
Yeah.
And the tripeptides mean something, they send a message to the body. Have you heard of another tripeptide called glutathione?
Oh, yeah, just that little master antioxidant.
Is that the most important chemical in the body?
Pretty much, yes.
You know, and it's just tripeptide, that.
Yeah.
So you can't just say it's just a tripeptide. Now, there are other tripeptides like glycyl hydroxyproline, just for example, which tell the skin to produce more collagen.
Yeah.
And we've talked about that on many studies in the past.
Yeah.
And that's why Verisol, which has high amounts of that, actually go in and tell the body to make more, less wrinkles.
Yeah.
And we all want that. And so, you know, if you're drinking, like I am right now,
With your concoctions.
I'm just going to say Verisol. You know what it is.
Yes,
but
it's
it's
going to make you
Verisol.
look beautiful.
Yeah, and people say, why are you having that, Steve? You're already so beautiful.
The people do say that a lot,
People
Steve.
say that all the time.
And maybe that's why, because you drink a lot of that Verisol, Steve.
That's true. It's nice tasting too.
Yes, it is nice tasting.
It's funny. But anyway, so you see how he sort of contradicted himself?
He totally contradicted himself there. So
anyway, so go on and we'll hear something else.
Yeah.
Seeing in your bloodstream, what your body sees is individual amino acids.
Stop that, please stop there.
In your bloodstream, single amino acids, not true.
No.
Because if they're absorbed as diantripeptides in your bloodstream, they're diantripeptides.
That's right.
They don't just get magically digested in the bloodstream.
No, that's exactly right.
That's so they're not individual.
No.
There are a lot of individual amino acids, but then there's some of these what they call messenger diantripeptides, which tell the body what to do. But you see how that little, because otherwise you could just take a bunch of individual amino acids, like if leucine's the key, just take tons of that.
That's right.
And you'll be Ronnie Coleman in no time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you can see. So, but hopefully people listening to that understood that there were two things said there that contradict each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's very interesting. But anyway.
Yeah.
Unless there is an individual amino acid in collagen protein that's stimulating connective tissue synthesis, it's unlikely that it's going to have a big effect.
Oh, stop that. Sorry. We are harping on this a bit.
Yeah.
But unless there's an individual amino acid that has a stimulatory effect on, well, hydroxyproline does on its own. That's an individual amino acid.
Yeah.
But it's the diantripeptides which have those effects, like the glycyl hydroxyproline that we've talked about many times, that does your skin and all these other joints. And that's why we have things like Tenderfoot, Fortigel, which are types of, and you can Google it. Just Google in PubMed and just you'll see them. The studies will come up.
Yeah.
They're a type of collagen which is pre-broken down to have a specific effect in the body.
That's right.
And that's not us saying that. That's what the data shows. It's not individual amino acids. If there was an individual amino acid that just did connective tissue, then you just take that one and your connective tissue is beautiful.
That's it.
Doesn't work like that. Go on.
In regards to whey protein, it's high in leucine, and we do know that leucine stimulates skeletal muscle protein synthesis. In fact, in response to ingestion of whey protein, you can see up to a 2, 3, or 4 time increase in the plasma levels of leucine, and that seems to trigger skeletal muscle protein synthesis. One of the things. So what's the take home from all this? If you're taking collagen protein for skeletal muscle protein synthesis to get bigger muscles, you're literally picking the worst protein that you can find.
Stop that.
When they've, as I said, and we've talked about this in the past, when they've compared collagen, and I'm talking body balance collagen. This is a specific type of peptide broken down.
Yeah.
He's comparing it with just plain old collagen.
Yeah.
Now, plain old collagen, I don't know of many studies that use that because it's just not used very much. It's a cheap type of collagen.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it. It's still got amino acids in it and all that sort of stuff. But when you look at the specific collagen peptides, they are the ones that have the effect.
Yeah. That's right.
And they don't have much leucine in it, but they have way more glycine.
Way more.
Way more.
Yeah.
Way more than whey.
Way more than whey.
Yeah, so anyway, so that's very interesting. Go again.
You can find. If you're taking it for connective tissue health, based on this study, it doesn't appear to improve connective tissue synthesis. This is why my supplement line, Outwork Nutrition, did not jump on the collagen bandwagon, does not sell a collagen supplement, and quite frankly, unless there is a preponderance of evidence that comes out to support collagen, we will not be selling a collagen.
Stop that there. There is a preponderance of evidence out there.
There is a huge preponderance of evidence.
It's kind of like, and we've done podcasts on this almost every 6 months. We do one on collagen, and we look at the data. And I mean, he's just looking at collagen, and not the collagen-specific collagen peptides, which are the ones that are most researched.
Yeah.
It's very strange because when I'm looking at this paper, I'm thinking, where did they get this collagen from? And they got it from a place that is just pure, straight-out collagen. It wasn't a specific collagen peptide.
Yeah.
And I've never even actually seen that one being used in any other supplement. It's very interesting because even though they use just a boring cheap collagen from, it still provided more amino acids to the bloodstream than whey.
That's right, exactly.
And it's sort of like, okay, so, and I've got no problem with having whey protein,
No, we don't have any issue with whey whatsoever.
No, it's fine.
No, but I think, I think everyone needs to know the facts, then they can make their own, educated decision what they want to choose.
Yeah.
And like we don't down whey. We have no issue with whey whatsoever. But there are also a lot of people that cannot take whey, can't tolerate whey.
Yep.
It can be quite inflammatory. Some people have allergies towards it, that type of thing. So there needs to be an alternative. So, you want to know that the alternative you're having just definitely still has great benefits, which is what collagen does. So we just want to highlight that there was a few flaws in what he was saying.
A few flaws.
This study.
And again, if you're sitting back there saying, oh, you talk of all these studies and I can't be bothered looking at all the other podcasts, send me some studies. We'll send you the studies.
Yes.
There's no ifs or buts about that. It's not like a mystery to us. We've talked about them many, many times in the past. And to say there's no preponderance of evidence out there I get a little bit funny when people say there's no evidence on whatever.
Yeah.
Because if I say there's no evidence that, and I'll pick something different, Tonkat Ali boosts testosterone, there's no evidence on that.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that I know of all the evidence in the world because I've read every single paper and there's none on Tonkat Ali and testosterone. Yeah. So when someone says that there's no evidence on subject A or subject B, they must know all the evidence, and they don't.
They don't. There's no evidence on what they've looked at.
Yeah.
I guess if you're, let's just say maybe a little bit biased towards something,
sure,
you're going to only be looking in that area, not looking at the whole picture.
Yeah.
And I think that's where he's gone a little bit wrong.
Layne probably has, I don't know about his whey protein, but I'm sure it's excellent.
It's probably amazing. It's great. We're not downing that whatsoever.
I really didn't do the homework to look if it hasn't got any artificial sweeteners or,
we haven't really looked into that deeply.
No, I mean, that's a problem, but if it's fine, I honestly haven't, and probably should have said, but it's not about his whey. Whey, there's nothing wrong with whey. People have used whey for years to build muscle. It works, no question about it.
Yeah.
But some people can't have whey, and we now know that specific collagen peptides are slightly non-significantly better than whey, and that's fine, but it's at least it's equivalent.
Yeah, that's right.
And even this study, they were equivalent. There was no difference between them.
Yeah,
and this is just the plain out way. And you end up with more amino acids in your blood with this one. Yeah. So amino acids are the things that build muscle.
That's it.
And so, and they're 30 grams of each directly weighed out. So it's quite amazing that you can say there's no evidence on X, Y, Z. That's a very scary, unscientific thing to say when they say there's no evidence for X, Y, Z. Go on. There's a few other things we'll close with.
However, we do sell whey protein because it is a high quality protein source that has been shown to increase muscle protein synthesis, muscle mass, strength, and it even has some overall health benefits in terms of like improving insulin sensitivity.
Oh, stop there a sec.
Please stop there. We go back to that one.
That's right.
That one there.
That I was waiting for that one.
Glaringly obvious, that one, that it's not quite correct.
No, that one's not quite correct. And there is, in the study that Layne was talking about here, they measured insulin spikes from the two proteins. And the graph is quite clear that whey protein stimulates more insulin release than whey protein stimulates more insulin release than collagen protein, about double. And I'm going to show Nick the graph here, and we can put it up on the screen. But there's the graph there, that one.
Yeah, and it's quite significant. It's quite a significant difference.
Yeah.
Whey's really spiking, probably double the collagen. Yeah.
And valine is an amino acid that stimulates insulin release, and so you've got to be a little bit careful about saying statements like that because it does significantly. If you want amino acids without insulin spiking, collagen is better, according to this study
Yes.
that Layne's referencing, because it's, I'm going to say, about double the insulin spike.
Yeah.
Because you will get some insulin spike with amino acids, because there is a thing called, amino acids do spike insulin, but whey protein spikes it way more.
Way more.
Way more. Think of that, remember it that way. So the p-value for that is less than 0.001. So it's significant. So very interesting, isn't it? So,
that was
so it does, maybe he's comparing whey against something else. I don't know what, but like sugar.
Yeah.
Then, definitely.
Maybe, but we're just basing this conversation on the study that he was quoting.
Yes.
So this is in that same study.
Yeah.
With the insulin spike. So
absolutely.
That we have to just highlight that.
And they both don't spike sugar.
No.
Because sugar stays stable because insulin pumps out more with whey and forces the sugar down. So the levels of sugar are the same with the placebo. They don't spike sugar, they spike insulin.
Yeah.
And that's what was missed in this study. So when Layne's saying that it helps with insulin resistance, what helps better is collagen.
Yeah.
Because in this study, and that's the cheap collagen that these guys use, the normal stuff. And they use 30 grams of each. It wasn't like 10 grams of collagen and 30 grams. So there is more insulin response to whey protein. So a little bit of a problem there. Anyway, go on.
Let's keep going.
And possibly even like antioxidant effect. There appears to possibly be some effects on glutathione, at least with whey protein concentrate. Whey protein really has a lot of evidence to back up its efficacy, and it typically tastes good, and it's not terribly expensive compared to some of these other protein powders out there. So if you want a high quality, really good tasting whey protein isolate at a competitive price, we would encourage you to check out my supplement line, Outwork Nutrition. The link is in the description. All right, guys, hope you liked the video, and I'll catch you next week.
I did like the video. It brings up some interesting points.
Sorry.
That's right. Yeah. All right, so it's quite interesting that we looked and found those few things, but it's even sort of more interesting because if you read the comments under it,
there's a lot of comments under that video,
and these are from people who are now. I didn't edit these comments in any way. I just copied them a couple of days ago, and if you want to have a read of the first comment that's written under this video that's on Layne's page that follows Layne.
Yeah. So this one, we won't mention the name, but it's on the video if you want to look at it. This study has no mention of collagen peptides, only collagen. An important distinction because collagen is notoriously hard to digest,
Well, it's better than whey.
Well, yes, but when you break it down to the peptides, and we don't know which collagen was provided. Some have as low as 27% absorption rate, while hydrolyzed collagen has 90+% absorption rate.
Absolutely.
So that's where, he's not looking at the distinction. And then it goes on and on. Our gut can more easily absorb peptides, dipeptides, and even tripeptides than longer chain amino acids, which is what we highlighted. So it's not like a protein's amino profile is the only metric of its usefulness. Its digestibility should be considered.
That's a very good point, and we talked about that. That's a really interesting point because he does mention that di and tripeptides are absorbed and then says that only in the blood it's a single amino acid. So which one is it?
Okay, he keeps going. As you know, collagen is our most abundant protein, 25-30%. Our joints are 85 to 90% collagen. Our skin 70 to 80% collagen. Cartilage 50%. Bones, connective tissue, all of that sort of thing. Skeletal muscles, on the other hand, barely 1% collagen. So any study that debunks myofibrillar protein synthesis is mostly wasting time.
Yep, true.
So, then he keeps going on. Compared to whey protein, collagen is going to suck for muscle protein synthesis. On the other hand, whey protein has barely any glycine and proline compared to collagen. So for the purpose of joints, skin, cartilage, bones, connective tissue, collagen, peptides make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Spot on with his comment there.
It's really, really quite interesting because there's a lot of data presented there, which I like. And again, this was the comment that people are picking up on is he's not looking at the different collagens. He's just looking at the amino acid breakdown, which is very, very,
very different.
Not the next one's something we don't need to worry about.
Don't worry about
but
that.
the one under it.
Yeah, another one. It's worth noting the recent studies suggest it's actually collagen peptides, so small molecular weight collagen that can boost collagen production in skin and connective tissue, not whole collagen.
Yep.
So there's a few people highlighting that.
Yeah, that's a very, and that's what we highlighted a lot during that video, and that was liked by 206 people, and you know, it would be great to revisit. I mean, you know, like the times that I've been wrong is like astronomical, because you can't say that we'll write that off, and that you have to keep an open mind to everything. I mean,
like we said, that's science, and if you you're closed off to anything but what you want to look at, then that's not being very scientific, is it? You know, and look, there is a bias there. He has a whey product, fair enough. As we said, we have a bias. We have collagen, but we're not biased against whey. No, we're just putting out the information. We don't say when whey comes out we think it's shit already. You know, I mean, there's a lot of benefits to whey. Yeah,
that's absolutely true. There's lots of benefits to whey. It's been used for years, decades by bodybuilders, and it's terrific. It builds muscle. Yeah. The other interesting thing I find about this is there's a few things in science that there's principles of science, and the first one is that the science is never settled.
That's right.
And whenever you hear the science is settled on this topic, be
worry.
Very sceptical.
Run the other way.
Oh, geez. And I've heard that on a lot of media, and I hear that the science is settled, and it's like you're always open to new things. And even look, obviously, you know, with things like the Earth being flat.
Yes.
You know, is the science settled on that? Yes, but if there's some evidence, you know, if there's someone presents evidence that says, no, it's really flat and it's compelling evidence. But remember, there's another scientific principle that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence.
Yes.
So that would be an extraordinary claim based on what we've got. So it would require extraordinary evidence. Now, what does that look like? I don't know. But, I mean, you know, they've sent videos up on them, you know, and you know, the people taking photos from the moon in 1969 of the Earth rising over the moon. You can see it's a ball.
Yeah.
But even if you say that's all fake and all that's fake, you say, oh, well, what's your evidence for a flat thing?
That's right.
And I sent you a video, Carl Sagan.
You did send me a video, yeah.
Which is a funny one that shows how they first discovered the Earth was curved.
Yeah.
And that's, a bit of paper. He folded a bit of paper. So you know, it's sort of like, okay. Now, with collagen versus whey, I mean, it depends on what collagen you're talking about and what whey you're talking about.
That's right.
Which, you know, I'm sure Layne's is a great whey because he's a smart guy and he probably knows a really good whey. But but there's some other comments here too. We didn't write these.
No, we didn't. No, these are on the video.
You can look at them. They're on YouTube now. But do you want to read that next one? That's interesting.
The top one?
Yeah.
Layne, you may want to review the research by the folks at Gelita showing that molecular weights of specific collagen peptides increase muscle mass and strength in both young and old.
Yep.
They also have a nice study showing their specific molecular weight peptides also induce multiple protein synthesis pathways when compared to whey protein. And that's 100%. You can jump on the Gelita website and look up their research and their research papers about their different peptides, their body balance, their Verisol, their Fortibone, all that sort of thing. It's right there.
I mean, he's talking about one amino acid, leucine, stimulating one pathway, mTOR. What about AMK and all these other pathways that you boost muscle with?
Yeah.
So, I'm sure he knows way more about leucine than I do because he's done his dissertation 100%. On it, which is incredible.
Yeah.
And the next comment is another interesting one. And again, I didn't swap any of these out. These are literally the top, I think, 8 or 9 or 10 or whatever I did.
Yeah. Only looks at the acute effect of single administration of collagen in the muscle connective tissue. It says nothing about the effect of chronic supplementation on joint and cartilage connective tissue. Yeah. The next one, collagen is absorbed as di and tripeptides, as we said, not as individual amino acids.
Yep.
More substrate also shifts the chemical balance towards the end product to make it easier to catalyse as chemical reaction. So everyone's picking up very similar things. So.
Yeah. And then there's a couple of others that will sort of skip it, but they say, no, I took collagen and I've healed better, my elbow's better and joints. And there's lots of those sort of comments like, man, but hang on, I took this stuff and it helped me. And that's anecdotal evidence. That's still, but what I'm talking about is the peer-reviewed scientific evidence and largely from the Gelita website because they use specific collagen peptides. Yeah. And you can really see the benefits. And people have tested this at the AIS in Victoria and all sorts of other places. And so there's lots of studies on this. And so when you say there's no studies on this, it's like, you don't want to, if I've said a statement and there's no studies on leucine for something like that. Layne would tear me a new one, and rightly so.
Yeah.
He should. So hang on a second.
Yeah.
There's a billion studies on that, and I acknowledge there's loads of studies on leucine.
Yeah.
Leucine is one of the main 4 amino acids that build mTOR,
Yeah.
but the other 3 are much higher in collagen.
That's right.
Leucine's not, but the other 3 are.
Yeah.
So if you just pick one,
Yep.
it's like that's not looking at the big picture. And
Yeah.
I've just quoted some papers showing the other 3.
Yeah.
So it's not like a mystery. And as you saw from the graph, glycine doesn't spike anything.
No, it doesn't.
Nothing.
No.
Nothing compared to the placebo, which is like, I think, silicon dioxide in this case,
Yeah.
which has nothing in it.
Yeah, that's right.
Just goes straight through your actually silicon
Yeah.
dioxide. It doesn't get absorbed very much at all.
Yeah.
So very interesting, but
Really interesting.
But-
So yeah,
but
and
the
as you said, if you want the ultimate, then you get some collagen, and with leucine, added leucine, then you pretty much got.
It does exist.
It does exist.
does
yes,
exist,
for
so
it.
keep an eye. And that's if you want that.
Yeah.
You may not.
Yeah.
And you don't need to. I mean,
No.
the leader studies where they compared the collagen versus whey for muscle growth, they didn't add leucine to that.
No, they didn't.
Because it's got the glycine, the
Yeah.
thionine, the arginine.
Yeah.
That, again, are much higher in that. And it's also got the added hydroxyproline in there.
Yeah.
Because you've got to remember that from the first comment, the body is made of collagen. 30% of the protein in the body is collagen.
Yeah.
0% of it is whey.
Yes, that's right.
So there's no whey in your, and that's fine. I'm not having a go. It's still
No.
whey still works. It's the old bodybuilders that grew massive bodies were on whey. Remember our mate Ronnie Coleman? What did he have? A comical amount.
Comical amount of protein.
Yeah, because it was like that would be 4 or 5 scoops or something
Yeah.
stupid
Yeah,
like that.
something ridiculous,
And of course that would help him build the muscle. I said whey works.
Yeah.
It's just that some people, are dairy, even you may not be lactose intolerant or whatever, but you may just not like the whole sort of, it makes you feel yucky in the gut. It bloats me a bit.
Yeah.
And I can drink collagen like I am right now, and it doesn't, it's like water.
Yeah, no, I can't take whey. I do get, it's quite inflammatory for me, and a lot of clients I see, like they can't do whey. It can impact the gut in a negative way. Collagen is very neutral, doesn't have any sort of allergenic sort of qualities for most people. So it's quite good for someone that has allergies. So, we're not saying don't, as we said, we love whey. I think whey can be great, but a lot of people can't take whey.
Yeah.
So we want to highlight the fact that you're still getting a lot of these benefits that you get from, whey plus others. They're both different. But as far as protein muscle synthesis, collagen is still great.
It is.
Collagen peptides.
Right.
Still great.
It's really good. Now, the other thing is too that the stomach and the gut is made of collagen.
That's right.
So collagen is very good for your gut.
Yeah.
I know this is a muscle podcast and all that
That's
sort of
right.
stuff,
Yeah.
but it's very good for you generally as well.
Yeah.
And whey's got some benefits too, but collagen just has that neutral effect. Just be careful of whey. And honestly, I don't know what Layne. Just be careful. It hasn't got. They add an artificial sweetener called sucralose in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Not all. And I honestly don't know if Layne's is. I haven't looked it up.
We actually haven't looked it up, no.
No, but
And we're not here to bag out anybody
No.
else's products. I'm sure it is a great product.
Just
so.
watch out for artificial sweeteners.
Yeah.
Look that it's got stevia, steviols, any of those sort of things. They're good, but artificial sweeteners, forget whey and collagen. They're not good for you. We've done podcast galore on those sorts of things.
Yeah.
So I know that we don't use any of them.
No.
Ever.
We don't.
It's just not even in the building.
No.
It's not even for anything contracty, anything. It just doesn't get here.
Yeah.
And that's because you don't need it anymore.
No, you don't need it.
It's just, you can use thermatin, which is a natural sweetener. It's a nice East African plant.
Yes.
But a lot of wheys have sucralose and asulfamine potassium. And we don't know about the other ones, but that's all right.
I think I know the answer, but we'll leave that.
we should have researched that before we
should
gave
have
it. We just
researched
didn't.
that. No.
So any other closing comments on this or anything, Nick, you want to talk about?
Look, I think as we've said, I think you need to be very open-minded when it comes to science. Don't just shut something down just because you don't want to look at it. We have to look at all the evidence. We've looked at all the evidence. And we just want to highlight that, some of the, as much as we said, we love Layne, we think he's amazing. He's a very, very intelligent man, knows his stuff.
Yeah.
But there's just a few things we wanted to correct in what he was saying in regard to this study.
Yeah, I agree. That's a really good summary. And just remember, we're not bagging whey.
Not at all.
We're not looking at the amino acid content of whey and going, oh, look at the hydroxyproline, there's none in it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It still works.
Yeah.
There's evidence to show that it works.
Yeah.
It's got more leucine, so that's good.
Yeah.
And if you want that, look for a collagen that's got added leucine and added branched-chain amino acids for that matter.
Yeah.
But on its own, more amino acids are absorbed.
Yeah.
Less insulin spike.
Yep.
You know what I mean? More glycine.
Yeah.
Which is good for you.
Definitely.
It's the most basic building block of amino acids. It's got added hydroxyproline. It is absorbed as di and tripeptides, which send messages to the body and do things. So I think it's good to revisit this and talk about this, because we just got to get that. We just got to give a view that is just more accurate and more holistic, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
And, look, we're naturopaths too. We don't like allergens in the body.
No.
I'm not a fan of dairy.
Look, no, and we've probably talked about dairy in the past. And, I guess we
Scary
look at...
dairy podcast.
We look at a different, population than perhaps Layne does. He's all about, he's in the gyms and the fitness and the healthy people who are fit. We sort of deal a lot more with people who have some health issues, some intolerances, that type of thing. So we have to be a bit more careful with what they're taking in. But yeah, it's just good to have a bit of a broader view of what actually he's talking about. So
excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we might leave it there, and we will see you all next week.
See you next week, guys.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.